Today we're going to talk about some really special and mysterious beings as much as we can. They are the closest to God in all of heaven's ranks. They get, carry out, and share God's will directly with archangels, angels, and other heavenly beings. They don't fight with swords, they burn with their very presence. They aren't like the usual angels with wings and white robes. They aren't messengers, and they aren't warriors. They are the Seraphim. Seraphim aren't just angels. They are beings of fire, standing closest to God's throne. Their name comes from the Hebrew word seraph, which means burning. They show us purity, light, and endless worship. The first clear mention of seraphim is in the book of Isaiah. In chapter 6, the prophet describes seeing God's throne room, where six-winged seraphim cry out, "Holy, holy, holy is the Lord of hosts." This vision became the foundation for religious thoughts about what seraphim are like, how humble they are, and what they do. Later in Revelation, creatures with 6 wings show up again, which really highlights how this divine order continues. Talking about how seraphim look is like trying to describe something you can't really put into words. The prophet Isaiah saw them as beings made of pure fire and light, standing above God's throne. They don't have a body but are more like a burning fire of God's love and pureness. Seraphim aren't just figures with wings, they're like living whirlwinds of light, sound, and color, showing us what heavenly fire and true pureness are all about. How they look is like God's love itself, shown in a real way, beautiful and a little scary, forever changing anyone who sees it. The most special thing about seraphim is their 6 wings. The prophet Isaiah tells us they use one pair to cover their faces, showing how humble they are before God. They use another pair to cover their feet, knowing they are created beings. And they use the third pair to fly, which means they are ready to serve and always praise. These wings aren't just for show, they are a deep symbol of being humble, showing respect, and serving forever. Seraphim, just by how they look, teach us how to get closer to God. Seraphim aren't just beings of praise. Their very being is divine fire, a power of total cleansing. In the book of the prophet Isaiah, a seraph touches the prophet's lips with a burning coal, taking away guilt and cleansing sin. This isn't just a symbol but a spiritual burning, healing the soul and getting it ready for service. Seraphim are the first messengers of cleansing grace, shining light and fire to all creation. The main job of the seraphim is to surround and guard God's throne. This isn't a chill job, but an endless, intense watch keeping His presence super holy. Their fiery looks and the shout, "Holy, holy, holy," create a spiritual wall that nothing dirty can get past. Seraphim are like catalysts for God's will. They're the first to get and pass on its energy to all the angels in heaven. They soak up God's will in its purest form and send it out, starting a chain of commands for all the angel groups. Their job is to keep God's order steady and to be the guardians of the command itself. The seraphim aren't just guards, they're also an endless choir singing "Holy, holy, holy is the Lord of hosts." Their song isn't just a hymn, it's a cosmic force that keeps God's order going and fills the universe with holiness. Through this song, they show and give off the Creator's glory, bringing heaven and earth together in shared worship. Their voices are an endless sign of the Lord's glory, the atmosphere of heaven made by the burning beings at the throne. In the records of heaven, the greatest conflict unfolded, not with swords, but with will and loyalty. Lucifer led a rebellion, but the seraphim stood firm. Their victory was their absolute devotion to the Creator, an act of spiritual strength. Their fiery forms became a stronghold of divine order. Their love for God is their shield and their banner. Their eternal worship is a monument to the triumph of love, pure and untamed. The most famous thing the seraphim did was cleanse the prophet Isaiah. This was a really special event where God and a human being met. When Isaiah saw God's glory, he cried out, "Oh no, I'm a person with unclean lips." A seraph took a burning coal from the altar and touched the prophet's lips, taking away his sin. This was an act of kindness and change, making Isaiah worthy to be God's messenger. A seraph showing up to a person is super rare, like almost never happens. It's not something you look for, and you're never the same afterward. Unlike other angels, a seraph appearing directly is like a tear in reality itself, a burst of pure holy fire. These things only happen at really important times, like with the prophet Isaiah, when heaven touches down on earth with a cleansing and scary fire of love. Seraphim rarely appear directly to people, but their impact on the lives of saints is clear. The vision of a crucified fiery seraph on Mount Laverna left Saint Francis of Assisi with the stigmata, a physical sign of God's love. This wasn't just a vision, it was a life-changing meeting that marked Francis as a living symbol of Christ's suffering. Other mystics, like Saint Teresa of Avila, talked about being filled with a burning love, which sounds a lot like what the seraphim are all about. These moments show how powerful the seraphim are at filling souls with God's love, not by showing themselves but by setting hearts on fire. Their influence is like a spiritual brand, a pouring of amazing, life-changing love. The touch of the seraphim draws chosen souls into a deeper connection with God, changing them forever. The seraphim's relationship with God is a perfect, unbreakable bond. They live in God's shining light, and everything they do is a natural outpouring of love and praise. Their song, "Holy, Holy, Holy," isn't a duty, but a natural overflow of who they are. They are so in tune with God's will that obedience comes easily to them. Their actions are an extension of God's plan. The seraphim are like living mirrors, reflecting God's glory and love back to Him in endless worship. Their existence is the gold standard of devotion, an eternal dance of will and worship at the very heart of heaven. They are the fiery ones made to carry and return the fullness of God's love. The seraphim play a key role in the cosmic battle for loyalty to God. Their devotion and purity set an example for other angelic ranks. In times of trouble they stand firm, reflecting the Creator's light and will. Their hearts, burning with divine love, remain untouched by the shadow of rebellion. While lower ranks waver and some have fallen, the seraphim's loyalty remains absolute. Their song does not stop. Their 6 wings continue to cover, fly, and serve in perfect unity with God's will. This strength didn't come from fear, but from a deep inner harmony with the Creator, a loyalty so pure that even the greatest temptation couldn't stain it. The seraphim's example becomes a beacon in the confusion, inspiring the faithful and shaming the fallen. Later, their loyalty is recognized not only as proof of their nature, but also as a cornerstone of the restored heavenly order. By choosing love over pride, the seraphim become eternal witnesses to the power of unwavering devotion in the face of cosmic turmoil. When Lucifer fell, the seraphim showed complete loyalty to God. Their strength and dedication became a symbol of true spiritual power. Even in the darkest times they didn't waver, keeping their nature pure and bright. Seraphim and fallen angels are complete opposites, pure fire versus twisted flame. Seraphim live in eternal love and unity. The fallen, on the other hand, live in alienation and torment. Their natures are so incompatible that reconciliation is impossible. The purity of the seraphim is torment for the fallen, while the wickedness of the fallen is an insult to holiness. Seraphim are guardians of holiness, maintaining divine order simply by their existence. Seraphim and fallen are mirror images. One is the result of faithfulness, the other of pride. Their opposition is absolute, an insurmountable chasm that arose at the dawn of time. Seraphim are the highest of creation, beings of pure fire, light, and love. Their 6-winged form is a living symbol of worship and humility. Their power is in purification, as seen in Isaiah's cleansing, and in their endless praise. Their greatest triumph was their loyalty during Lucifer's rebellion, which forever set them apart from the fallen. Seraphim embody perfect communication with God, the ideal of created existence. They are the unmoving point of faithfulness, and the first mirrors of divine glory. To know the seraphim is to see the highest aspiration of creation, a living flame of love, eternally burning before the throne. The importance of the seraphim goes far beyond just religious writings. Even though they are far away and mysterious, their existence deeply affects how we understand God, worship, and our own spiritual growth. They show us the highest form of love possible. In a world often filled with doubt and distractions, the Seraphim stand as a timeless symbol of complete focus and strong loyalty. They teach us that the greatest purpose of any created being is to love their Creator with all their heart, to become a living act of praise. Their fiery nature reminds us that true love isn't a quiet feeling, but an active, strong, and life-changing force that cleanses and lifts up the soul. The Seraphim also show us what true worship looks like. Their humble actions covering their faces and feet teach us about the right way for our souls to be before something holy. Their constant song, the Trisagion, has echoed in our own church services, allowing people to join their voices with the heavenly choir, closing the gap between heaven and earth. When we sing this ancient hymn, we join in the Seraphim's eternal worship, recognizing the same basic truth of God's holiness that they declare. Their importance then is very practical. They provide a way and a path for humans to come close to the divine with proper respect and awe. What's more, the story of the Seraphim and their stand against the fallen angels is a timeless story about the moral choices we all face. It's an endless fight between love and pride, between serving and ruling, between reaching for God and reaching for ourselves. The Seraphim show the victory of the first, a victory available to all who choose the path of humility and love. Their strength gives us hope, confirming that being faithful to good is possible even when facing the biggest temptations. They remind us that the fire of God's love, once accepted, is more powerful than any darkness. In conclusion, the Seraphim are more than just a topic for religious study. They are a very important part of our spiritual heritage. They are the fiery heart of the heavenly order, the eternal guardians of holiness, and the ultimate examples of divine love. Their echo is found in the lives of saints, in the words of our prayers, and in the deepest desires of the human soul to connect with its Creator. They remain a deep and powerful mystery, a burning witness to God's glory and the amazing potential of a soul set on fire by divine love. They are the highest note in the symphony of creation, a note of pure, endless, and holy fire. That was our story today about these highest beings of God's will. In our next videos, you will learn even more about the key servants of light, darkness, and how they show up in our human world. So, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Give this video a like, and see you soon in new, exciting, and helpful videos, friends. Bye for now.